Hey, what's going on, everybody? Man, this has been a long time since I've recorded a video. I don't know what's been going on, but I'm back here. Hope you guys enjoy this video. If you haven't done so already, you have no idea what you're doing, you should be pressing that like button, 1. 2, you should be subscribing. It's easy as 1, 2, 3, man. I'm so ready to talk about today's video and today's topic. It's been a while. But, yeah. The New York Knicks are actually good. Who wouldn't be saying that at February? Who would be saying the Knicks are a good basketball team? Those two things haven't coincided for a long time. And now we get to talk about this one certain topic, and I actually feel good and confident about talking about the Knicks being good again. Woo! It's been a while. I can't believe I'm just like speechless, like I'm saying the Knicks are a good basketball team. Why? Well, let's begin with one thing. Tom Thibodeau is an actual head coach. We haven't had a good head coach in 7 years since Mike Woodson. We've had Derek Fisher, Kurt Rambis, David Fizdale, and Jeff Hornacek. None of those guys are good head coaches by any means. They were really below average. We had a head coach where when we were down by 40 points, instead of taking it as an insult, he would smile about it. Are you serious? This is who our head coach was. This was a guy that only was a head coach because LeBron put a good name for him. That's it. Now we have a head coach who has a winning resume, won Coach of the Year in Tom Thibodeau, and gets the best out of his players. For example, Derrick Rose. When he was on the Bulls, he became an MVP. You had Joakim Noah. You made him a Defensive Player of the Year and an MVP candidate. Jimmy Butler emerged as an All-Star, and now look how he's doing in Miami. Tom Thibodeau got the best out of his players, and he made them successful. And those teams, those Bulls teams, they may have not been the best talented roster in terms of stars and individual players, but he made those players get the best out of them, and that's how they competed day in and day out. Now with this Knicks team, he made Julius Randle come from a bona fide scrub, in the words of Stephen A. Smith, to an all-star that looks rejuvenized, and he looks like he's totally improved in every aspect in terms of playmaking, vision, shooting, passing, whatever. His rebounding improved, he cut his body weight, he got leaner and stronger, and he's just a bull right now. And I feel like the future with this Knicks is bright. And now we gotta talk about what's the future with this Knicks team. So we're going to talk about the whole entire roster. We're going to go from RJ Barrett. I like RJ. He was supposed to be the guy. We drafted him 3rd overall after Ja and Zion went. And, he was supposed to be the number 1 projected pick going to that draft. And then Zion happened, that guy that dunks and blocks the shots, the Zion Williamson dude. You got the J.A. Morant that just came out of nowhere from Murray State. Yeah. He's cool. But RJ was supposed to be that guy. Steve Nash put in a word that this guy's going to be a legit threat. But RJ Barrett, I love his game. I love his passion. I love his tenacity. But the one thing that scares me is his jump shot. Some games, he'll be shooting amazingly. He'll be going for 10 for 15, 2 for 3 from 3, over 20 points, 7 rebounds, something like that. Some games he'll have 3 points and then go 1 for 9 and 0 for 6 from 3. It's like those games happen a lot. And he's a second-year player. And look, I think RJ, I don't think he's the boss by any means. I still think he's a great, solid player. But the thing that's going to take him away from being a good, solid player to a really, really talented player is that jump shot. And I feel like RJ really needs to go into that gym this offseason. By his 3rd year, I need him to have about near 40% from 3. Because he's shooting below 30% right now from 3. It's very, very frustrating to see this happen for him. Kevin Knox, we talk about these players, and every Knicks fan goes, oh, they're young. Oh, yeah, well, they'll be good. Just give them time. You know who was also young? Anthony Bennett. You know who was also young? Darko Milicic. You know who was also young? Hashim the Beat. That excuse I don't want to hear. You're good or you're not. Kevin Knox is probably the worst work ethic I've ever seen my whole entire life. I was hearing all these rumors by the Knicks analysts that Kevin Knox has been looking the best out of the training camp and everything. No, he hasn't. I mean, talking about now, his shot, sure, maybe improved slightly as a wing catch and shoot player, but everything else is the exact same, maybe worse. His defense is below average. His finishing is subpar. He isn't the most amazing rebounder to begin with, and that's what he's not seen. Frank Ntilikina, We drafted him 8th overall over Donovan Mitchell, and Bam Adebayo. Yeah, he hasn't done anything except once in a while he'll have a very good defensive game. He'll shoot, His playmaking's, I mean, there's nothing that just rises up. I mean, like, he's a poor man's Patrick Beverly. He'll once in a while put on solid numbers that don't even show in the stat sheet. They're showing the box score, the plus minus, all those stats that don't even show. He's one of those players. I remember back in 2017, they were comparing him to Tony Parker. Tony Parker, the guy that won the Finals MVP, the multi-time All-Star, the franchise Spurs point guard. No, I don't see anything of that. He's a bust. I don't want to bring him back. Depending on how much money he wants, I don't want to re-sign this guy. I just want to get rid of all these busts from the Dennis Smith, who we trade for, the Franks, and the Knox. Gone. I'm hearing stuff about Obi Toppin. I'm a big Obi fan. However, I'm very happy we drafted Obi Toppin, because if we didn't, we wouldn't have seen the emergence of Julius Randle. However, we don't know how Obi would have done. Obi's also playing below 10 minutes a game on this Knicks team, where Tom Thibodeau loves to heavily play his starters majority of the minutes. Now, obviously, you got bench of Quickly and Rose. Now, Rose is starting after yesterday's game against the Kings, which I'll get into. But there's a lot to say when you talk about guys that need minutes to be efficient. When you talk about guys like John Collins or the Atlanta Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks played their young guys a lot of minutes, and they were developing them. You got guys like Trae Young, Hunter, Collins. They're not playing Solomon Hill or Alex Len or, Dwayne Dedmon more minutes. You play the young guys to get the best out of them. But the way Thibodeau sees this, he wants to get the best out of his players. They're going to give him time. He wants Quickly to come off the bench. He knows he's going to be the franchise point guard starting very soon. But for now, he needs firepower off the bench. Let the coach coach. I think it was very smart, because if you think about it, if we had Elfrid Payton coming off the bench, Derrick Rose, yeah, you have Derrick Rose, but you still have not a lot of energy coming off the bench. Now you have Derrick Rose and Quickly coming off the bench with that firepower when the starters can be stale at times. I think that's very, very strategic, and I take that, and I think that's a very smart move by them. Now, Obi, I think Obi can bring electricity. He's a great dunker. I think he needs to work on his jump shot. I've seen a lot of air balls and a lot of shots. His arc is very off. He has no aim. He shoots like Andre Roberson at times, right? And it scares me, because he's a great finisher. I think he'll be a great player still, but he has a lot to work on with that jump shot if he wants to be good. I remember Blake Griffin. He didn't have a jump shot going to the NBA, and then now he's a great finisher. He still is, but he has a very, very, very solid jump shot, which takes him away from this NBA, and it helps him stay in the league. And I think that's very important to make sure you have a jump shot. Now, Mitchell Robinson. I've had a lot of Knicks fans talk about Mitchell Robinson. He's a franchise player, and I've had Knicks fans. I've listened to a lot of live streams, a lot of podcasts. Make Knicks Great Again is one guy I listen to a lot. He had one guy come on his live stream. I was listening to it one time, and he said if we were offered straight up Devin Booker and we had to give up Mitchell Robinson, we wouldn't do it. Now, here's the thing. Mitchell Robinson, he's a great, great defender. However, there are a plethora of defenders just like Mitchell Robinson that we can replace with him. And I guarantee in the draft and free agency, we can get someone. I can go JaVale McGee, Clint Capella, Tyson Chandler in his prime. Mitchell Robinson just reminds me of one of those. He's no franchise player. I still think he's a good, solid player that we have in the team. I wouldn't want to get rid of him unless we get someone very good in return. If we had to give him up for Bradley Beal, who in this case we're interested in, and I feel like that would be a great scoring punch we need, because one thing this Knicks team needs is a score. We need someone at the end of the games. Julius tries to be the guy. He's just not. We need that Melo, the guy in the clutch, who'll give you that bucket you need, the Zach LaVine. The guy will close out, get that bang shot, as Mike Green would say, and you just need the guy that will close it out. We need that guy. If I had to give up Mitchell Robinson for that, I would. Now, RJ Barrett, same thing. If I had a chance to maybe not get rid of him, maybe try to go around the box and maybe pair him up. You have like Beal, RJ, Randall, IQ. Something like that would be very interesting. But I feel like the Wizards or Levine, I feel like we can work around a trade where we give up Knox, give up Frank, potentially give up our pick if we make the playoffs and keep the Dallas pick. Because we got some picks now. And we also got a lot of those seconds when we trade Ed Davis, Amari Spellman, Jacob Evans. And we got all those second-round picks. And this 2023 draft class is supposed to be very good because that's the first year high school players are going to be eligible. And those seconds can turn to first, I heard. So that's very interesting to me. So I feel like we can get a lot of use up those picks and get natural talent. And I feel like the Knicks are in the right direction. We're currently 6th place after beating Sacramento. This game yesterday, I didn't get to watch the full thing. I was at work, so that was not fun. But when I watched the highlights and I rewatched the game when I got home, one thing that took away from me was just the ball movement, being able to shoot when Alfred was in the game. We scored 140 points, and Alfred Payne was in the game. I was very shocked by that. But the Sacramento Kings, they have a David Fizdale type of coach in their own, and Luke Walton, who is one of the worst head coaches I think I've ever seen my whole entire life. And the Knicks were just able to dismantle them any single way, shape, or form. Alec Burks had a great game. Quigley had a great game. Rose started off 7% from field. Randall was back to Beyblade Randall from last year, as we've seen, but he did pick up his pace. He still had 25 and 11, and I feel like the Knicks are in the right direction. What's the step from here? I think the next step from here is we make the playoffs. We got to show teams that we're competitive. We want to win. We want to make the playoffs. Is that how you track free agents? I think the way the Brooklyn Nets did, you got D'Lo, you had Oliver, you had Dinwiddie, you had Jared Allen, you had Kenny Atkinson playing them hard. You got the best out of the young guys. You played hard. You made the playoffs. You fought in the playoffs. You lost. But that showed teams that they were ready to compete. And that's how you track free agents like KD and Kyrie. Now, I don't know if free agents really want to play with Tom Thibodeau. I remember a couple months back, there was a anonymous. Okay, you know what? We're going to ignore it. I just said that word. You know, that's a big word right there. Anonymous survey, and it showed that the last coach players will want to play for is Tom Thibodeau because he coaches them hard. You have guys like the GM, you have KD and Kyrie, you have these guys choosing your own head coaches. But for now, if you have to deal with him for maybe a season, and then you want to get rid of him like what KD and Kyrie did. You got Steve Nash, or when LeBron got rid of Luke Walton, and you got Frank Vogel. I'm like, that's fine. But don't you want a head coach to lead you in the right direction to win? Like, Julius Randle went on JJ Redick's podcast, and he said that he's one of the most laid-back coaches, and he's not that tough. He's soft. In a good way. And I mean, like, come on. He wants to win the game. Don't you want to win a championship? I mean, like, you can still have fun with it. Like, the Knicks are looking like they have a great chemistry going. They have a lot of fun. Thibodeau's not going to be like, stop having fun. No. The coaches coach, the players play, and you can still have fun. It's basketball. It's your living. It's your life. You should be able to enjoy it still. And that's why I take away from this. I mean, like, I want to get free agents. I mean, there's only Kawhi, I feel like. Giannis got his extension. A couple other guys did. I do not want Lonzo Ball by any means. I'm not overpaying for this guy. But the one player I would be interested in signing, he's not a big top free agent, but one thing this Knicks team needs is shooters. I feel like with a guy like Julius and RJ, when Julius kicks out to an open shooter, RJ, I feel like a Duncan Robinson at that shooting guard position would be the most ideal fit. Duncan Robinson's one of the best catch and shoot players. I feel like he is going to be staying in Miami. But if we were to like maybe offer him a little bit more money, I feel like he would be a great fit next to RJ and Julius. I feel like the team morale would be much better. You have guys like Quickly that can facilitate. You have shooters. Shooters are very important in this day and age. And when you have spot-up shooters like that are very efficient, that shoot over 40% from three, I would go for it. I don't know if he's going to be staying with Miami, but I feel like he would. But I feel like that's one free agent I would go for. Alec Burks. I think Alec Burks is a great role player as a six-man role player. However, he's another poor man's Marcus Morris. I would like to trade him at the deadline because he is 29 years old. He's going to be 30. I'll try to get a late first-round pick to a contender and maybe just a bet. Like we did Marcus Morris, we got the Clippers pick, turned to Quickly, and we had Mo Harkless, and he was gone. But those are strategic moves because Alec Burks is not part of the future. Maybe keep him for cheap, but I would go towards seeing what you can get from him at the deadline and get a first-round pick. We did that with Quickly, and I'm not saying that'll be every single case scenario, but you never know, and I would go for the draft pick, and that can also be used in a future trade if we want to get a star. Draft picks are very important. Having young players and talented players. Julius, I want to keep him. At the same time, if the right trade comes around where we're like, okay, this is like a no-brainer, if we have to let go of Julius for the better, we have to. I would make a full stride on that because if we can land a star, we need a star. But if we had to pair up with Julius, we would. I would take a look at the market. I'm not sure what the ideal trade would be, but I'm not saying he's untouchable. No one's on this team is untouchable. Keep the market open. keep your eyes open. And if the Knicks, William Wesley, Leon Rose, all those guys, I would say keep looking around the market, see what's available. I'm not saying trade him, but just take a look. That's what the Knicks should do. And now we have a tough division. We have the Sixers who are in first place. The Raptors are on the come up. They may be trading Lowry. But the Boston is a team that is shocking me because they're looking like a team to contend. You have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, who emerged as a All-Star this year, and he's a phenomenal player. I love their dynamic duo they have. You have Kemba Walker as the third string. You have Marcus Smart as an amazing role player defender. I like the team, but the thing that lacks them is the center position. I think Tristan Thompson's still a solid player, solid rebounder, but he doesn't play that much. You have guys like Jeff Teague, who's playing abysmal right now. I feel like you need one more player. And do you get rid of Kemba for that third guy? I mean, Danny Ainge has so many draft picks. He has so many young guys he can throw in that are not even playing. I feel like you could work up a trade. And I feel like right now, as being a Knicks fan, I want to overtake Boston and make the playoffs, which it seems very unlikely because Tatum, he's a generational type talent in my opinion. He's such a great scorer. I just love his game. I love Jalen. But if that bench is really going to kill him, there's not a lot they can do. Danny Ainge's got to make a move, and we got to analyze that and try to get ahead in the standings. I feel like we can overtake Charlotte, even though LaMelo Ball and Gordon Hayward, they are great players. And I think they're a great team. They got a lot of young talent. They're fun to watch. The Pacers, we're playing them next game. I feel like we can beat them, though. De'Mon Sabonis was snubbed. He's on my fantasy basketball team. He was a great double-double. He's putting up around 5 assists, I'm pretty sure. That team's young, and now they got Karis LeVert. They got a big three right there. And, we're going to wait to see. But I feel like the Knicks got a good chance to make the playoffs. We got to take this one step at a time. And I feel like we got a lot going for us in the future. Just don't panic and don't waste it. Don't do what we did in 2018 where we traded KP. We thought we were going to get KD, Kyrie, and Zion Williamson. No. Just take your time. Do the right steps. Play hard. Keep doing what you're doing with Thibodeau. And Thibodeau we trust. And we take it one step at a time. I hope you guys enjoy this. I got another episode coming out very soon. Be on the lookout for the Goons YouTube. Me and my group of friends, we're making a big YouTube channel. There's going to be a lot of content coming on there. I'm very excited to start that. My podcast is coming very soon. It's going to be very interesting, to say the least. I'll have more information on that. Link in the bio. Subscribe. You know what guys you got to do. You know what the drill is, man. This is your boy 23 Airman, and I'm out, and I'll see you guys later.